Well, the spinal cord injury, it is known that produce interference, this break the connection between the brain and the spinal cord. So then the main thing is that the people that suffer a spinal cord injury have problems in the motor system. But at the same time, it's the ascending inputs from the body to the brain who suffer this kind of interruption. So the brain stops to receive information about tactile pain, proprioception is the posture, or temperature. So in the long term, when a spinal cord injury happens, there's a change at cortical level. What happens is the cortex have a spatial representation of the body. So after the spinal cord injury, one region in the cortex failed to receive input from the periphery, and another region remain intact. So we want to compare these two activities in the cortex. The previous work of other authors, other researchers, demonstrate that in the long term appear the cortical reorganization, and is related with the pathological phenomenon like phantom limb or neuropathic pain. So we want to understand the mechanism that is in the basis of this phenomenon. In this lab, we work using electrophysiology as the main techniques. So we measure the electrical activity in the somatosensory cortex to receive the information from the entire body about the tactile, proprioception, temperature, and nociception. And we want to compare immediately after the spinal cord injury the electrical activity in the intact cortex, the cortex that receives information above the level of the lesion, and the deafferentate cortex, which is the cortex that failed to receive information from the periphery because the spinal cord injury. So now we are working in the measure the evoked responses and the spontaneous activity pre and post spinal cord injury. So what we found in this lab in the recent years is that after spinal cord injury, immediately after spinal cord injury, when we measure the electrical activity in the deafferentate cortex compared to the intact cortex, the real thing is that not only the evoked responses changes, the main thing is that the state of the brain changes. What I mean with the state of the brain is the spontaneous activity, the basic spontaneous activity, and change in both cortex, not only in the deafferentate cortex, in the intact cortex at the same time. So this big change in the state can be the beginning, the first step in the cortical reorganization that happens in the long term. So we think that there is not literature about this change previously. So we think that it's important to pay attention in this state of the brain in order to understand in a better way the cortical reorganization.